There's a common trend among new moneyed individuals. They try to emulate what they were always told wealth was. Yacht photos, Lamborghinis, typical rich guy stuff. And you usually notice a distinct lack of taste. As a suburbanite, I see this pretty often. Here in the burbs, especially when interest rates were near zero, we saw plenty of McMansions that were clearly built by people with more time to watch HGTV than they had sense. $500,000 or $750,000 homes designed to look like quaint little farmhouses. Lots of black and whites right now. Turrets, Grecian pillars, small fountains out front. Would have been on Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous or MTV Cribs. You'll find it in the suburbs these days.
And you have no style or sense of fashion?
Well, I think that depends on what you're...
No. That wasn't a question.
We also saw a flavor of this mentality on the small screen in 2022 when Amazon pitched the Rings of Power loaf onto the TV lawn, and we added another piece of evidence to the mountain of reasons why money can't buy skill or taste. I was not one of the people who witnessed this televised sleep aid. I can't remember why, but I skipped Rings of Power the first time around. I did watch the first episode or two, knew it to be utter dross, decided I didn't even feel like mocking it. But now, season 2 is upon us, and I figured, well, I better stay up to date. So, I made a quadruple espresso, put sewing pins in my collar so I couldn't nod off, and I let the first season hit me in the face like a burning hot ashen money shot. As you can see, I am unscathed. Turns out, fiery hot vapors are about as deadly as a modern day lightsaber. But good Lord, I understand why everyone was crapping on this thing. Atrocious dialogue, acting suitable to frame a house with, typical mystery box storytelling, typical idiot plot and plot contrivance, typical flat characters, typical season that goes nowhere, so you have to tune in next time. The only positive thing I can say about it is that it is gorgeous. The money was clearly well spent on sets and costumes, but even Amazon's deep coffers couldn't buy talented writers and actors to produce a compelling story. I can only hope that I can compel you to follow me to my office. Come on, I put on makeup. You can laugh at me. This video took a long time to write and edit, and I spent it all right here at this FlexiSpot desk in this supportive C7 chair. Well, sometimes I was standing. Now, when I'm sitting, this chair has my back. Seriously though, I've been using this thing for months now, and the lumbar support is fantastic. Arrange the armrests however you want, recline, tilt the seat forward, put your feet up. It's comfortable and supportive in every configuration, even for big and tall fellas like myself. I love working with FlexiSpot because I don't have to read you PR crap. This is my desk that I bought with my own money well before I started making videos. But they sponsor me anyway. It almost feels like cheating. The first desk was for my wife, for her makeup station. Yeah, you can use these desks for more than just traditional office work. She likes being able to get herself and the kids ready while standing, not having to get up and down constantly. I researched these and I found FlexiSpot was the best value with the features that I wanted and none of what I didn't. Got digital height display with memory settings, USB chargers, A and C, pencil drawer. Hers looks great. Mine is a disaster. I was so jealous of hers, I bought myself one. This thing is really sturdy. You can see I got all my stuff clamped to it. You can even get them for your kids for stand-up homework when they get tired of sitting. By the way, did a tornado come through here? Use the links below and code C750 to get $50 off this chair. Guys, FlexiSpot makes great products, and I say that to you as a customer. I don't know how people make a living doing makeup tutorials. I nailed this first try. Kind of think I'm in the wrong line of work. But while I consider my career options, Rings of Power Season 2 looms. So let's look back at the completely unfinished storylines for which we are supposed to tune in next time to see what an expensive disaster this show turned out to be. It's told in 4 stories, only one of which seems to have an ending of any kind, but all are equally boring. It's tough to assign the title of worst to any of the 4 because each sucks in its own uniquely horrible way. But let's start with the dumbest, and that's these idiots, the Harfoots. For starters, these people are just awful. Led by this codger, who we're going to call Smurftaw, who knows weird things are up but won't tell anyone, and is just generally cranky.
I suppose we have to register you as a lethal weapon.
They have this motto that no one walks alone, but when this guy breaks his foot, Smurftaw is like, sucks to suck, you gotta walk in the back and we're not slowing down. And some other busybodies suggest breaking his cart and leaving him to the wolves?
If he dies, He does.
By the way, he broke his foot trying to set up a pavilion, I think for everyone, but they just watch him struggle and then no one gives a crap when he snaps an ankle. Cool, I'm really excited about rooting for these awful people. Everybody shares till somebody is undesirable. Hang on, script rewrite, gonna change the name from Harfoots to Marxfoots. But they're not really the heart of this story, it's this girl, Nori, and this walking mystery box, Scamdolf. He fell out of the sky and can't talk, which makes for an excellent viewing experience when he is constantly confused and stupid. You get thrilling sequences where he tries to form words.
No, I'm Nora.
I'm Noor.
Heart-pounding action where he draws pictures.
What is it?
I almost always hate when a show has an amnesia character who stumbles around trying to rediscover their past, but holy crap, this took it to a whole new level. Not just, I don't know who I am or where I need to go, but I don't remember how to talk or how to eat. Watching him bumble around and almost kill people for 6 episodes, just fantastic. But where did he come from? What's an Istar? Tune in next time. You don't have to pretend everything's a mystery. Just say his name is Gandalf and tell the story. But if that wasn't enough mystery box, how about these 3? Honestly, Amazon does deserve praise for their X-ray function. I do like that when I get curious about someone or my wife wants to tell me who they're married to, or when I don't know who the heck is on screen or why I should care. But thanks to the X-ray, I know these 3 are the Nomad, the Dweller, and the Anesthetist. What do? Look ominous, mostly, then reveal in the final episode they were looking for Sauron. And when they die, they turn into ring wraiths, before those exist. And Scamdolf talks about following your nose. And there's a Balrog. And there's this scene of the Nazgul looking for the hobbits. They should have named this production the Schmort of the Schmings for how much they wanted to frickin' rhyme. I am so exhausted by these constant, obvious reminders by new media that they're related to older, better media. It's visual name dropping, and I hate it. Scamdolf doesn't understand basic English, but the power of friendship and a belly full of snails allows him to say,
Yes.
I'm good.
yeah, that's the dialogue. I can't make a better joke. I can just play it again.
Yes.
I'm good.
I can't top that. You win, Amazon. Anyway, they have a showdown. Smurfdog gets stabbed in the stomach a long time ago, yet is still delivering lines like he doesn't have a gut wound. Then he jovially tells his friends that he's a wandering off trail now. I thought that kind of thing was racist now. Justice Smith was just in the worst movie of the year about it, but okay. At that moment, the sun springs into the sky.
Cue the sun.
Well, that's weird. We got a music swell and he's slowly closing his eyes while we pan out. Wait, whoa. Am I supposed to be feeling right now? For this bag of crap, I'm supposed to feel bad?
Here's a 2-word answer.
Then Scamdolf can suddenly talk in complete sentences and knows where to go, and Nori is gonna go with him. Now, you might not have noticed during the season, but she's a free spirit that feels confined by the life of the Marxfoots. It was subtle, but if you rewatch the first episode, it is there. About 7 times. She says goodbye to these awful people, and if you do go watch the show, when this scene starts, you can go ahead, go do some laundry, sweep up a little bit, smoke a whole brisket, give your car a tune-up. When you come back, they'll be setting out on their adventure. Where are they going? Tune in next time! Let's continue our tour of the next level of this divine storytelling comedy with The Southlands! The echo is because it's empty. There are apparently 2 villages in the Southlands and roughly 85 people total, including this watchtower with 4 guards. This story is what made me realize what is wrong with this show. There's no scale. It acts like it's huge, but looks tiny. They do this map overlay, showing you huge areas, mountains, Middle-earth is massive. We get these excellent establishing drone shots of beautiful New Zealand. Then we're in a village of about 4 huts and a dozen extras. The Southlands seem like a pretty big place and we're supposedly a stronghold for Morgoth. Adam, where is the stronghold? Where are the population centers?
Run here.
Thanks, you're just as helpful as the show. We're being led to believe that the fate of the world is in the balance, that huge forces are at play, yet we don't feel it and we don't see anyone. This wants so badly to be Lord of the Rings, which is very much an epic story that still manages to focus on being character-driven by a relatively small cast. But, as my mom used to say, want in one hand and poop in the other and see which one fills up faster. It's kind of a weird saying, honestly. Anywho, this whole Southlands has 2 towns in it, and one is already dead and is really just a CGI backdrop, having been captured from beneath by the orcs, who have been pretty busy bees. No one has noticed this massive swath of ruined land, further adding to the desolate nature of this supposed kingdom. But we're going to come back to the orcs because this story is really about love blooming amidst hardship and threat, both from the orcs and from prejudice.
Thought you were gonna drop a bomb.
Well, she's white.
White! Man, are you on crack or something?
Oh yes, Elrrrrond messed up and fell for a human, which elves are supposed to hate because they sided with Morgoth 1,000 years ago, and the humans hate them because of their persistent occupation. Honestly, this was a great storyline. It was really cool how they subtly introduced and explored the racial tension themes with causes and consequences.
Oh, let it go, nigh fears. Our true king will return and pry us right out from under your pointy boots.
And you believe this place was once a barren scrap of rock?
It has changed much, Watchword.
But the men who live here have not.
Yeah, they just tell you. I mean, why develop tension and character when you can just slap the audience in the face with the obvious theme that you want? Romeo and Juliet. They're Romeo and Juliet. It's Romeo and Juliet. Racist. It's about race. Because of racism. This is racism. This is all about racism. So the elves are busy watching these 36 people in these 8 houses, making sure they don't rise up again, and Flipper has been doing it for 80 years. They know the history of the place. They know that no king has been there for quite a while, which makes it a little bit awkward that he didn't say something when definitely not Sauron was declared king. The way the people react when he is named king, however, kind of implies that pretty much anyone could have said it was them, and the people would have followed. But we're getting ahead of ourselves because the one remaining town in the Southlands is threatened by orcs. Elrrrrond was captured by them and had to watch Captain Benvolio die before his eyes, and then met their leader, an elf, an Uruk. Like, I don't really want to make jokes at this part because I was genuinely disappointed that this didn't go better. I wanted the Adar story to go somewhere. It's a cool concept. He's trying to usurp power from Sauron. The orcs are devoted to him. That could have worked. But alas, he was just as useless as the idiots guarding this tower for centuries without knowing that it held an internal mechanism to pour this water into this trough that led to a lava lake. Are the physics of this whole thing stupid? 100%. But that's not as important as the goofy contrivance of the whole thing. I'm still trying to figure out what the point of the evil Rube Goldberg machine was. If I'm reading this right, Morgoth built that tower. He built into it a secret contraption to open this dam. The contraption only works with a magical MacGuffin that plugs into a clearly sword-shaped hole at an altar of Morgoth holding his famous sword. The entire thing seems to have one purpose, which is to make this volcano erupt, but building it in this way suggests that it was supposed to be used later all along, but requires a trough system to be dug. If this thing creates a giant dead zone where orcs can live, why design an intricate system to set it off later? Now, admittedly, I'm not a Tolkien expert, so there's a strong chance I'm just missing a crucial detail, but on the surface, this looks incredibly dumb. What it looks like, to me, is that these writers contrived an intricate, nonsensical method of creating a natural disaster and artificial tension. But before that happens, the villain lets Elrrrrond go to deliver a message.
No. I'm going to leave them alone and not actually witness them dying. I'm just going to assume it all went to plan. What?
He does this because he, needs to, why did he do it? Doesn't make a darn bit of sense. He does it because the script says to. He has a vastly superior force. The tower holds like 40 people. None of them are warriors. The orcs can ram this door down pretty quickly, and there's a solid chance the MacGuffin is in there. Heck, they could siege the place and wait for starvation. Oh wait, no. Can't do that, because the show established that although the war and everything have been going on for 1,000 years, now suddenly everything needs to come to a head in a couple of months. Artificial tension and pressure, yay! So Flipper devises a plan and saves the day. Except he doesn't, and the script needs to step in the form of a contrived rescue from this horrendous character and storyline, but let's finish with Elrrrrond first. After the battle, he suddenly has a father-son bond with this kid that is supposed to mean something, but doesn't. The town is a happy place because all the racists are dead, I guess. And this happy couple heads into the sunset where the mom and boy will grow old and die while the elf has hundreds of years to live. Don't think about it too hard. Just feel what you're told to feel.
I do love your mother, but she's more like a pet to me.
You know who doesn't have hundreds of years to live? This dude, Elrrrrond.
God, you are hard to look at. You look like the topographical map of Utah.
Sorry, that's how they say his name for some reason. Everyone in this show is like a white dude ordering in a foreign restaurant.
Galadriel.
Hi, I'd like a gyro, please. Could I get extra tzatziki sauce on that? And throw in a couple of those baklava, please. And fries and a Diet Coke. Thank you.
Durrrrin?
Oh, this friggin' guy. He really is hard to look at, and I bet if I check his acting history, it's all stage stuff. This guy mugs so hard he belongs on my shelf. He doesn't move, he flourishes. He doesn't speak, he orates. The little fella is chewing up scenery so hard I'm starting to think most of the budget was spent on replacing it after each of his scenes. I wish he was alone, but it seems that everyone had the same acting coach, and it was William Shatner. When Queen Muriel wants to show you she's being serious, she tenses her neck and flares her nostrils and bulges her eyes.
Your nostrils are flaring so much right now. It's distracting.
I'm worried about this woman's breathing. That is full retraction. Get her an inhaler. When Galadriel's being super serious and stern and wants to be taken seriously serious, she furrows her brow into what I like to call the Ben Shapiro listening face. But back to Elrrrrond, he is a politician of some sort and has been put on the smithing team with Celebrimbor, the greatest smith in history. Nobody matches this guy. He is the absolute bestest. That's very important info. Like, the guy at the fair who can turn a railroad spike into a knife, Brimbor is easily more than twice as good as that guy, just to give you a little perspective. He and Elrrrrond need to get some special metal from the dwarves. The map shows us how far away the mountains are. It's a pretty long journey. The world's a big place. This is Middle-earth. Frodo's journey was almost 2,000 miles. Just kidding. They say they want to go, and the map rolls across the screen, and they're at the mountain. They literally have the same clothes on. Celebrimbor is still wearing this velvet robe to travel in. No packs, nothing.
Okay, that makes sense.
How is this story supposed to feel epic when your travel times just happen because you want them to? That's why this feels like small stakes. That's why it feels so contrived. These guys need to pop over to the mountain real quick? No problem. Oh, only Elrrrrond is allowed in? That's cool. Celebrimbor will just stroll back home. It's only a block or two away, obviously. Can we take a moment to speculate on something? Celebrimbor's gay, right? Like, that's a lot of velvet. He traveled in that. He's either the most gayest queen or the most straightest Chad in the whole show. There is historical precedent that it could be the latter. And Kelly Brizzle is pretty famous. Like, he's kind of the elven version of a rock star. Does he have groupies? Sorry, groupies? Hey, you remember earlier when I said the costumes were really good? I wasn't talking about this dwarf and his beard. He's another one that got the Shatner lessons. Though, in his defense, you can't see much of his face and he can't move his mouth very much, so his eyes are pretty much all he has. He has to emote through eye bulge. It's fitting that this story is about dwarves and mining because it bored me to death. Something mithril, it's a big secret, except the elves know about it somehow, and it's suddenly very important now. His dad won't listen, won't let him work on his art, which he insists is not a phase. I don't know. There really isn't much here. The dwarves, as a people, were a full-on plot device. Once again, we end with a non-ending. His wife is ambitious, he and his dad aren't getting along. What happens with these characters? Tune in next time! Okay, I gotta come clean. I wasn't being entirely honest when I said it was hard to choose which of the 4 stories was the worst. It's clearly this one. It's this character. It's everything surrounding this. It's the paper-thin mystery of Sauron. It's the pointless queen in the Númenóreans. It's the right place, right time contrivance. It's the mithril plotline that feels like it was the first way they thought of to include the dwarves and never thought of a second idea. It's the character that you hate. Not love to hate, just hate. Nothing redeeming about this character, and no growth. She even says she can't tell herself apart from the monster she hunts. And then nothing changes. Are we trying to soften Sauron right here? Are we doing yet another sympathetic villain story? Is that all we know how to do anymore? She really is the worst too. They open up with her getting mutinied because she sucks as a leader. She's blinded by hate and revenge. By the end of the show, she is exactly the same. No care for the greater conflict, just gonna go beat the bad guys. That's it.
We're gonna kick the hell out of him all the time, and we're gonna go through him like crap through a goose.
You get weird scenes like this.
I am sorry, you are haunting. Your face is the stuff of nightmares.
You get dialogue and delivery like this.
But you have not seen what I've seen.
I have seen my share.
You have not seen what I have seen.
Galadriel immediately leads to the story and lore of this farce of a show. Now, I'm not a Tolkien expert. I'm a normie who has read the 4 famous books, nothing else. I'm actually remedying that. This show is so bad that I kind of wanted to find out what the real backstory is. So currently, Andy Serkis is reading the Silmarillion to me. But the mithril thing just didn't feel right. And I point out my normie status to show you how clearly stupid of a plot point it was. I instinctively knew that mithril saving the elves would not be found in Tolkien's writings. It's such an obvious amateur attempt to tie the stories and people together and provide tension and a deadline. I didn't have to know anything about Valinor, the Silmarils, any of it to just feel that it didn't fit. I did a little Googling to confirm my hunch, and I discovered that, much like Amazon's other source murder, Wheel of Time, this show's only connection to its namesake is the names of characters and places. Pretty much everything else is made up. I feel like this show is a result of a lost bet involving the game's story cubes. It is a Mad Lib nightmare. It is a plot created by the Whose Line 3-headed singer.
They freeze away my hairs from my knee.
This is what happens when you try to change parts of an existing work to make it your own. Tolkien's works all fit together because, one guy wrote them. He pictured the whole map, the history, even the languages. When you take a cohesive structure like that and you just try to tweak a few things, it becomes painfully obvious. It sticks out like the colored hair of the audience this show seems to be aiming for. So Galadriel is bloodthirsty, honestly should be in the hunter's dream, but she's instead hunting for Sauron, following his sign, leading her north. But the show needs to be in the Southlands. Anybody have any ideas for how we can lead her into the south? What if Sauron's mark is sideways? What's that? What if she misread it? Hang on, let me see what you got there. Hold on. Okay, so you want her to be searching for this guy for 1,000 years, and then suddenly realize that by turning his symbol 90 degrees, it's actually a rough map of the area where we need the show to take place? That is genius! At the end of the show, they actually did a "you're holding the map upside down" joke, but the main plot of the entire show actually hinges on that exact idea. Sauron hiding his base by turning the symbol sideways is the Clark Kent glasses of villainy. All right, I'm ahead of myself again. She leaps off the boat into the middle of the ocean and is gonna swim to shore. Right there in episode 1, you should just turn this nonsense off. That's what they came up with? Were there seriously no second opinions on any of this? I would love to hear about the ideas that they rejected. She runs into a raft in the middle of the ocean, and not Sauron is on it. And he is wearing a literal mystery box. They are rescued by Númenóreans. The people of the island see literally one elf and start unironically doing the "they're taking our jobs" bit. Most of Númenor was a blur. Honestly, I still don't fully get why this island even came into the picture. More racism stuff, I guess. I think it's really funny that Hollywood can only think in terms of racism now. That's how most productions generate conflict. Most of what happens on this island is pointless. Finally, they agree to send 500 troops to fight the most evil being in existence, who commands an army of orcs. The show doesn't just feel small anymore. They actually made it small by saying that out loud. I saw these pictures floating around when the show was out. Now I get the joke. 500 guys and horses fit on these 3 ships? No one cares about these things, and it leads to sloppy storytelling. They get to Middle-earth, we do the map graphic, and then they happen to come upon this one hamlet in the entire countryside being attacked by orcs. I'm truly at a loss. This had to pass multiple editors, right? This got greenlit? This was the final idea that they came up with?
You are not serious people.
Okay, we finally got them across the country to the exact spot that the script needed them, but wait, now they need to be back at the forge again. But not Sauron got stabbed in the gut. He needs elf healing. Finally, at this point in the show, like, I don't know, an intern or something must have timidly held up their hand and asked, isn't Middle-earth kind of big? And for the first time, these people realized they needed to add some scale to this world. Like most things, they did it with dialogue.
What has happened?
Enemy Lance, 6 days ago.
They finally added scope to the world, and they chose to do it while telling us a guy with a gut wound rode a horse for 6 days. Like, how? Whatever. They're all there, and they need to make the rings, because that's the name of the show, because Mithril something, Elf Lives, Fading something. It honestly doesn't matter. Kelly Brim, the greatest smith to ever live, has a conversation with nobody, not Sauron, and he's like, have you ever thought of mixing the metals? To which Kelly is like, yeah, I did think of that, but it won't work. And Not-Saur is like, hear me out, hear me out. Have you tried doing it in a way that would work?
I give it to you. You got me there.
Right.
So, maybe.
Okay, let's take a break for a second. Let's get serious. Let's get personal. I want to give you guys a little bit of life advice. Haven't been doing that much recently, but I want to tell you something very important. If you feel like you can't do something in this life, if you think that it can't work, try doing it in a way that does work. Consider that a gift. Is this seriously how Amazon thinks he gifted them the rings? He says it's a gift. He seriously tells the greatest smith on the planet, try making an alloy, but try using the correct metals. Then he leans in and says, consider it, dramatic pause, a gift. Like, there's just no, that's not real.
Call it a gift.
It's real! But hold on, because these people who didn't even bother to do Wikipedia level research on metallurgy aren't done yet. The metals still aren't mixing. So Galadriel has to say something about working together, which gives Not-Sauron an idea. Don't force the metals together. Don't be so rough. You don't always have to forge them hard. In fact, sometimes that's not right to do. He suggests mixing them at a medium pace. You're wondering how this could possibly work. First, Galadriel needs to surrender her dagger because we want to manufacture some emotion and make all this seem deep and meaningful. No one else in the elf town had metal that came from the elf homeland. She has the only piece, which honestly kind of makes sense because there are only like 7 elves living here from what I can tell. They melt it and swirl it, and she very gently, very smoothly, so as to coax the metals together, softly plops the ore into the molten mix. In a subtle Easter egg, there is a blink and you'll miss it nod to Schmore to the Schmings in this scene. Oh, she also discovered Not-Sauron was actually, are you sitting down? Actually Sauron!
Whoa! I did not see that common twist ending.
What happens next? Tune in next time. What might turn out to be the most expensive television show ever made, riding on one of the most famous names in fiction, turned out to be one of the most beautiful yet amateur productions that I have ever seen. Where are the characters? Where are their motivations? Oh, right, we're in the era of entertainment that is scavenging the bones of what already worked. Every new show is a Pinterest board of well-known inspirations. They are moving collages of references to things we actually enjoyed. We have become these guys, wading through the memberberry bog. So what'd you think about Rings of Power Season 1? Do you even remember any specifics about it, or did it fade away like the next day? What fresh horrors do you predict for Season 2? Let me know. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.